Hey, Mike Sullivan here with Hall Financial, and we are here in the beautiful Westland, Michigan with Haeley and Ben Lightner. Going to be talking to them about their experience with Hall Financial. They bought a house recently, so we'll be chatting with them about how everything went with Hall Financial and how happy they are in their new home here in Westland. So tune in. Looking forward to having you.
They cut us a check at closing.
Hey guys, Mike Sullivan here, Hall Financial, and it is awesome to be here with Haeley and Ben Lightner we are in Westland right now at your guys' new home. Now, they went through Hall Financial, a little less than a year ago, right?
Yeah,
Right around a year ago.
Yeah.
You guys got your first home, first-time home buyers. I guess first I would just ask you, how was the process as a whole, generally speaking?
It was good. We searched for a home for years. It actually was a really long process for us just to really figure out where we wanted to live. But we worked with a great realtor, and that's how we found Hall Financial. And I knew that I was going to have a ton of questions, because usually what they say is, you can never be, overly prepared for that kind of thing.
Sure.
A lot of homes purchases do fall through because people aren't prepared. They don't have their paperwork ready,
Yep.
And we were like, once we find our house, we're going to want to just have the house, immediately. So I was a little bit overly prepared, but
Now, what was your guys'
really well.
And you're absolutely right. Being prepared is a huge thing, and I think one of the most important aspects of it is the pre-approval process, right? Being able to talk to someone, get pre-approved. How was that, and how helpful was it to be able to have Hall Financial to get you pre-approved, give you kind of a baseline idea of what to expect?
Yeah, it was honestly a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Good.
We had a really good idea of what our price point was,
Yep.
and exactly what we were looking for. So had high confidence going into it. But it was a phone call, honestly. It was 5, 6, 7 questions, and we buzzed through them. And then it wasn't even, I think it was later that day that
awesome.
we got a call
Very
back.
quick.
And yeah, they're just like, yeah, you're good. And then it was
It's time to find a house within
time
that
to, yeah,
price
time to
range.
find a
Yeah.
house.
So, and you guys, obviously, a lot of people will say that it is a nerve-wracking experience, right? There's been tons of studies that have been done on that. Buying a home is one of the most stressful events of your life, up there with getting married, having kids, all of the big life moments. It is a huge life moment.
Yeah.
How was Hall Financial for you guys overall in calming nerves, as you guys both mentioned, getting everything answered, any questions you might have? Was it almost a sigh of relief to be able to have a company in Hall Financial and work closely with several people that were able to help you out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, I'm the one that asked all the questions. I'm the overly prepared person. So, I got a response pretty much immediately from everybody that I reached out to. So it was really nice to be able to be supported in that way, especially being first-time home buyers, just having no knowledge of
Sure.
that, So I think it was nice to be able to have that, that they just responded to us really fast every time we had a question. So it was good.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for us too, is just getting a response, even if it's,
Sure.
oh, I'll look into that, and then, following up later. That's what we needed to kind of calm us down.
It's huge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
communication, and we talk about it as well. The crazy amount of 5-star reviews that Hall Financial has. It's remarkable when you go online and look, because that's one of the most commonly things that's said is that, hey, questions were answered, communication was great. And I personally believe that communication is one of the biggest parts with any big decision in life, being able to have someone that is going to respond in a timely manner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
What would you guys say as first-time home buyers, if you had to tell people, hey, this is the piece of advice I would give you, this is the one thing I would point to where you kind of got to be prepared for X?
Get your house inspected.
Yep.
So,
Sure.
So we got ours inspected, and if we could go back again, we would have a second inspector go through, and it's a couple $100 to get a full inspection, and you just don't want to find out the issues after you put all that money into something.
Sure.
I mean, you should always have a little bit of money on the side and be ready for some curveballs. Like, we didn't have a lawnmower for the first couple months. So
be prepared. Have the little extra money.
Yeah, there's gonna be little things, but having that inspection up front will really help you. We almost bought a house in
Redford.
Redford, and then thank goodness for the inspection, because it failed miserably on so many different levels. And so
I think also you got to be prepared for, how much the process actually, does cost out of pocket. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that I was not prepared for is the inspection, having to pay for the inspection and having to pay for like paying the title company and like paying all these small things that you don't think about.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I just need my down payment and then I'm good. But there's like all those other smaller things that you do have to pay for. And I think that doing a lot of research on that would be really smart on a first-time home buyer's part.
Sure.
Because like I said, those are just kind of things that I did not know about. And so I'm glad that I know now, for the next time we do purchase a home. But it was, I would say that would be the thing, is just make sure you know everything that you're going to have to pay for, the small things, like that.
And I think that's huge too, because a lot of people, and you mentioned, I believe you said earlier that your realtor referred you to Hall Financial. That's how you found out, essentially.
Yeah.
Now, I think that what you just mentioned there about being prepared for what the cost could be, that's why Hall Financial should be, the first call that you make, because with that pre-approval process, they're really good from day one, being able to instruct you and give you a good idea of what some of those costs would be, because that's huge for people that might not be expecting, or at least initially might not know how much certain things would cost.
Yeah, and we, like I said, I'm overly asking questions. I kept asking. I was like, okay, so we found this home. So how much would we have to pay the title company for this, and how much would the down payment be for this? And like, I kept asking all those questions because I did want to be prepared for when it's closing time, paying all those things and making sure we're prepared. And they were able to answer those questions right away, get us, at least as close as they could to the number that we would have to pay at the end.
Good.
Which, we had no surprises at the end of it, which was really nice. So
good.
Yeah, it actually ended up being less.
Yeah, less.
They cut us a check.
Great.
At closing.
Yeah.
So,
that's always a nice little. That's what you like to hear.
It's a good situation to find
and
yourself in.
That's kind of, that speaks to the service and the great communication, of course. Now, you guys, new home certainly, and also newlyweds, you could say, not too long ago. Congratulations.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Now, explain that in terms of the process that you guys went through buying a home. What were you looking for in a first home? What are some pieces that maybe you'd tell other people that you personally were looking for in that first home? How many years you might expect to be in it, that type of thing?
So what we were looking for is like kind of like a 7 to 10 year home.
Okay.
We obviously knew we were going to be getting married shortly after buying the house, and then we want to start a family sometime soon. And so we're thinking like, where's a good place to, start raising your kids and all that. So we're looking at, bedrooms. We're looking at size of the house, size of the backyard, somewhere for our kids to play. But we also have 2 dogs and 2 cats.
Nice.
So
names?
somewhere also.
What are the names?
Oh, okay. So we've got Leo, who's one of the dogs, and then Kyla, who's the other dog. We've got James Franco, who's one of our cats.
Oh, there you go.
And Joffrey Lannister is our other cat.
Oh,
so,
Game of Thrones. I like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But okay, so I want to jump off that with what you just said. That's big for a lot of people too, where you're buying a home for the first time, you're looking at a fenced yard, right? Or you're looking at certain dimensions of how big's the yard going to be for all the pets, that type of thing, right?
One of our things too was garage.
Yep.
We jumped for joy when that house had a 2.5 car garage, because we were like, that's awesome. We don't have to choose who's going to park in their garage, and so during the wintertime, we were able to both park in there and not have to shovel snow off of our cars or shovel our car out of like piled up snow.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. So that was a big thing for us too. And like one of the biggest things we did too, and why it took us so long to find a house, is because we didn't compromise.
Yeah,
sure. We were like, we want a house that fits all these things, all these criteria. And we, almost settled a couple of times. But with this house, we found just the right house that had everything that we wanted in a first house. So
good.
It was good. Yeah.
It took a while. I mean,
yeah.
We looked for 2 years.
The process start to finish, 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't tell you how many houses we looked at. I mean, it's
the average is somewhere. It's hard to get. The average is somewhere around 12 or so.
Oh, it was more than that for us.
But here's the thing, though. There's plenty of people who, I mean, sure, there's people who will go into 1 or 2 houses and then make an offer and they get the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's other people that will take 50, 60 plus, visits into houses, and there's no right answer there. But yours was, well, you said 2-year process. You certainly went into a lot of them, which is great
Yeah.
because, as you just said, Haeley, you don't want to settle,
Yeah.
right? So you might as well go through the process and look at a bunch of them.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things to it for us too was like where we wanted to live too, you know, because there could be a really great house, but in a not so great area. And with wanting to raise kids too, you know, we were looking at school systems and stuff, and so we just, you know, landed on the perfect town, the perfect neighborhood, and the perfect house for us.
Yeah, Ben, one thing you were saying earlier before we started filming actually is that you said you kind of have an idea of first home, and then in how many years you might be looking again for another home. You kind of have that time frame in your head. What would you say to that in terms of people that are planning, hey, I'm going to get a first home, maybe I might be in it for this many years, then I'll start to look to another one. Do you kind of have that time frame, at least a general time frame?
Oh yeah. And that kind of speaks towards, you know, in addition to communicating with, you know, Hall Financial and a realtor, it's important to communicate with the people that you're going to buy the house with, because what was important to Haeley, some of that stuff, honestly, I didn't really care about. And some of the stuff that was important to me, she didn't really care about. So
compromise.
One of the first things is really get a good idea of what that plan is. You know, we wanted to do you know, like a 7-year, 10-year house, because we knew that we already kind of have a big family with all these animals.
Sure.
And we want to grow that. And right now, our the house that we got is perfect. And I mean, those kids get bigger,
right?
So we're planning for the future in that sense. I think it's important because one of the things that you look at with a house is, you know, are you going to do upgrades or do you want something that's already finished? And that played a huge factor in our search. You know, and we didn't even know what we wanted. And with each house that we would look at, even though it's not something that we were going with, you're picking up things that you just didn't think about, like, oh, that'd be really nice to have. Actually.
I will say, with us being open about like talking to each other about what we wanted and really kind of getting that picture in our head, I walked into the house that we bought for the first time, and Ben was at work. And I took a video from the moment I walked in the house, did all the rooms, the basement, everything. And then I went to him and I said, I went to his work, I showed him the video, and I said, we need to make an offer on this house right now.
Wow. So you knew.
So we made the offer. Cool. And then we actually talked to our realtor. We're like, can Ben please see the house, because we want him to be able to know, you know, that this is the right house for us.
Cool.
So he walked around it at night. He actually didn't see it in the daylight until after we actually bought it.
Do you guys believe in that whole when you know type thing? And that's a lot of people. Hey, if you're kind of uncertain, if you're on the fence, you buy into when you know.
Yes, and absolutely. That's why when I walked in that house, that's why I went right to him. I said, this is the house. We need to put an offer down right now, immediately, because this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been looking for. So he saw the video. We talked about it, and he's like, oh yeah, let's do it. So
awesome.
For sure.
Well, that's great. And now I wanted to ask you guys said Chris Foster's who you work with, the Hall Financial, right?
Yep.
He was extremely helpful, you know, through the process, and I assume kind of what you were saying earlier with being able to answer every question and whatnot.
Yeah, Chris, super knowledgeable guy. Really easy to talk to. So I didn't meet him in person at first. It was all over the phone.
Okay.
And he's the type of guy who he's so knowledgeable of the entire process that just like the way he answers questions and then presents information to you that you didn't think to ask.
Yep.
After that first phone call, I was like confident and
good.
Trust, you know.
After the very first phone call.
Yeah.
Good.
And you know, we weren't on the phone for longer than 10 minutes, but
that's what you want.
Yeah, it was comforting.
It was interesting because Ben said to me at one point, he's like, the biggest purchase that we've ever made was a car. He said, so this purchase, it's a really big purchase. It's a really big deal. So the fact that, you know, we were put at ease, you know, by him, you know, him talking to us through the process, because, you know, you are putting a lot of money into something.
Yep.
And so you want to know that what you know, the person that you're talking to, you know, you're confident that they're helping you through the process. And so, and like I said, we ended up putting more money in and ended up getting some of it back because they prepared us so well for how much we were going to have to put in for it.
No, and I think that's huge too. And we talk about this all the time, right? It's a quick 10-minute phone call where you're not being sold something, you're not
Yeah.
being, pressured into anything. Having a 10-minute, as you literally just said, conversation can be huge and go a long way.
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome for both of you that the process went so smoothly for you.
Yeah.
And that you were able to get everything you done and be happy with it and even get some money back, as you said. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Now, I got to ask you before we finish, we talked about the advice that you have for first-time home buyers. We talked about the couple pieces of advice you'd give for people that might have a lot of questions. What about for people getting married? All right.
Oh,
what
geez.
about just the one piece of marriage advice for newlyweds and people that like both of you who just got married recently?
So one of the biggest things is that we laugh a lot, and I think that's really important because we laugh at each other, we laugh at ourselves, and we just in general make just have a lot of fun. So even when we have little arguments, we laugh through the arguments, which I think
yes.
really helps us because it helps you not to build up that anger, but it's just laugh all the time. We have so much fun with each other. It's great.
Yeah, I would say for marriage advice, I'd say just don't take it too seriously. I mean, it's a huge day. It's gonna apply the pressure as it's gonna apply the pressure. I was freaked out about the first dance, so I knew that was like something that was really ripping in on me. So
Yeah.
we took dance lessons and
There you
like
go.
kind of got out
Good.
ahead of it. But
And during the dance, we messed up a couple
we-
times, and I just smiled
Yeah.
through it and I said, "It's okay."
We're
just gonna keep
like
going,
you said,
yeah.
laugh, don't take it too seriously,
Right.
and have fun with each other.
Yeah,
That's
he did
great.
say real
Right.
quick. He said, during the dance, he said, "I don't remember how to finish this dance," and I laughed
Yeah.
and I said, "I don't either. Let's just."
so we're just gonna dip.
There you go, Perfect, and it all worked out. Right now, you guys are
Exactly.
happily married. You're in a
Yeah.
beautiful house, and Haeley and Ben, we thank you guys both for chatting with us a little bit today.
Oh,
Great,
yeah.
great to talk to both of you, and obviously great to hear about the tremendous experience you had with Hall Financial.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for sitting down. Been
Thank
awesome
you.
chatting,
Thank you.
and more to come, guys. We'll certainly be talking to all of you soon.